I've lived just outside this HOA nightmare zone for years, on a farm so big you could fit their entire cookie cutter neighborhood in my back pasture. My farm road connects directly to the main street, which made it a convenient little shortcut for the HOA folks. At first, I didn't mind. It saved them a few minutes, and I got a laugh watching their shiny SUVs tiptoe over my dirt road like they were allergic to dust. But soon it turned into a parade of honking horns, loud music, and headlights cutting through my fields late at night. The worst part? It felt like I was running a public highway without ever signing up for it. Welcome to Prodigy Tales. Make sure you like and subscribe for your top-notch HOA drama. One morning I snapped. I wrote a formal letter to their precious HOA board, politely asking them to stop using my property as their private speedway. To my surprise, they agreed. Well, almost everyone agreed. Because, of course, there's always one person who believes rules are just suggestions for everyone else. Enter Karen. Imagine a middle-aged hurricane with bleached hair, a Mercedes GLE, and a personality so loud it could scare crows off a power line. Karen didn't just ignore the notice, she doubled down. Every morning, her silver Mercedes would slice through my property like she owned it, leaving muddy tracks on my gravel and sometimes splattering my gate. I even caught her waving at me once with that smug, "What are you going to do about it?" grin, as if I was some unpaid doorman to her royal shortcut. The nerve. It's one thing to deal with the HOA circus, it's another to be mocked on my own land. Still, I figured maybe she hadn't gotten the message. Maybe Karen was just slow on the uptake, like most people who think private property is code for VIP lane. I didn't confront her yet, I just stood there watching her car zip by as I leaned on my fence thinking, "Lady, you're gonna regret that." Karen's Mercedes became my daily alarm clock. Not because it was fast, trust me, that thing moved like a hippo in high heels, but because she made sure everyone within a mile radius heard her blasting the most obnoxious 90s pop music at sunrise. I decided to do what any sane, fed-up landowner would do. I put up bright, bold signs that screamed private property, no trespassing. I even threw in a polite, "Please use the main road" underneath, because I'm classy like that. But Karen? Oh no. She saw those signs as decorations. Some mornings she would literally speed across my farm road, splashing mud onto my signs like she was competing in some kind of HOA-sponsored rally race. And guess who was left cleaning up that mud every single time? Yeah, yours truly. I started upgrading my defenses. First, I planted some reflective cones to make it clear this wasn't just a random patch of dirt. It was my dirt. Karen plowed over them like she was driving through a field of daffodils. Next, I tried a chain across the entrance. She took one look, laughed, and drove around it by cutting through the edge of my crops. I could see her tire tracks slicing through my freshly planted rows. I swear I almost aged 5 years in that moment. The HOA wasn't going to help me. Last time I called them, they told me, "We can't control where our residents choose to drive, but we'll send another notice." A notice. Great. Meanwhile, Karen was treating my farm like the set of a Fast and Furious spin-off. Every evening I'd watch the sunset from my porch, and without fail, her car would blaze past with a cloud of dust trailing behind it. Sometimes she'd honk, not because she needed to, but because she could. I swear she enjoyed getting under my skin. I started daydreaming about payback. Nothing illegal, just a little adjustment to her routine. If Karen wanted to test how far my patience would go, I was more than happy to find out where the line was, and believe me, I was starting to draw that line in permanent marker. One blazing afternoon, I'd had enough of Karen's arrogance. I parked my truck near the farm road, waiting for her usual 4 p.m. shortcut stunt. Sure enough, I saw her shiny silver Mercedes rolling up, dust clouds puffing behind it like she was the queen of HOA land returning from a royal tour. I flagged her down and walked right to her window. "You need to stop driving through my farm," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. But Karen? Karen looked at me with those over-plucked eyebrows like I was some sort of bug on her windshield. Then she laughed. Not a polite laugh. Oh no, this was the laugh of someone who thinks they own the air you breathe. "Maybe," she said with a smirk. "You should take your farm somewhere else if you don't want us driving through it." I just stared at her, stunned. My farm? Take it somewhere else? What was I supposed to do? Roll it up like a yoga mat and move it next to a Walmart? Before I could respond, one of her friends in the passenger seat leaned over and asked, You still drive through his farm? Karen chuckled and said, Yes, why not? What's that old cow gonna do? Feed me to his chickens? They laughed so hard I thought they'd choke on their HOA smugness. And the best part? She knew I could hear every word. She wanted me to hear it. As I walked away, something in me snapped. I wasn't just angry anymore. I was done. That woman needed a reality check, and I was going to deliver it in the kind of package Amazon doesn't offer. I spent the rest of the evening pacing my porch, planning. If Karen thought she was untouchable, it was time to show her what happens when someone pushes a farmer too far. My hands were itching for action, and I knew exactly where to start. By nightfall, I had a plan so simple and so perfect that even my cows looked at me like, oh, this is going to be good. Calling the police would have been the normal thing to do. But Karen wasn't normal. She was a hurricane of entitlement, and I needed a storm-proof solution. So I decided to give her a lesson she'd never forget. The next morning, I grabbed my shovel, rolled up my sleeves, and went full farmer engineer. I picked the perfect spot on my farm road, a dip just past a curve where Karen always sped through without a glance. I dug and dug. The sun burned overhead, but I didn't stop until I had a trench big enough to swallow her precious Mercedes front wheels. Not too deep, just enough to trap her like a fly in honey. By evening, I disguised my masterpiece. I leveled the edges, sprinkled loose dirt, and even dragged a few branches to make it look like the road had been freshly smoothed out. From a distance, it was invisible. If Karen thought I was the old cow, she was about to learn how cunning an old cow can be. The next day, I didn't have to wait long. At precisely 4:05 p.m., Karen's car appeared like clockwork, her music blasting some off-key boy band anthem. I stood on my porch with my binoculars, sipping iced tea like I was watching a live-action comedy show. She hit the trap without even slowing down. 1 second, she was gliding like she owned the road, and the next, bam! Her front end dropped like a stone, and her scream echoed across my fields. I swear I could see her face turn 12 shades of red as she climbed out, heels sinking in the dirt. She paced, yelled into her phone, and even kicked the side of her car, which, judging by the crunching noise, didn't appreciate it. No one came to help her for hours. I watched her stew in that hole, calling tow trucks and probably every contact in her overpriced phone. When the towing team finally arrived, they had to drag her car out, scratching up that shiny paint job in the process. She cried. Not dainty tears, full-on mascara-running HOA Karen meltdown. It was absolute cinema. From that day on, Karen never touched my farm road again. The end. Please like and subscribe for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think Karen got what she deserved? Comment below.